Hello and welcome to our video on how to set up and program your Rachio smart irrigation timer. We call these smart timers not only because they will work with your smartphone, but they also use weather data and what landscape conditions you have to make your program match your landscape and water it as efficiently as possible. Start by downloading the Rachio app. I'm going to click it to start. When you open the app, it's going to ask you to connect to a controller. Hit next. Add the address that the timer is located. A satellite image of your location will show up. If that's where you are, you can say add location. If it's off by a little bit, you can always tap to refine location and move it around. Click done. Add location. Now it's going to ask you to scan the barcode on the controller. The faceplate of the Rachio timer is easily removed by giving a small tug on the magnets that hold the faceplate in place. You'll notice here is a sticker with a barcode. When using the app, click scan barcode and you'll see that it accesses your phone's camera and will automatically detect and scan your barcode. Now we can replace the faceplate on the Rachio timer. Again, it's held in place by little magnets and just clicks back in place. Now it will ask to connect to a device. Hit connect. Now that my timer is connected to the app, we can start programming. Set up now. Now it's time for us to go outside and check to make sure the valves are connected correctly to the timer. We'll start with station 1 or zone 1. We're going to start a zone test. And I see the water has turned on. This is a grass area, so we will name it grass and move on to programming it. Here we have cool season grass. If you don't know what kind of grass you have, you can Google what type of sprinkler head are we using. In this case, we have pop-up rotary nozzles. We're going to click that. Now it is asking us to select the soil type. You can do a soil test or Google how to do one at home. You can also take a sample to one of your local irrigation suppliers who can give you a report on what type of soil you have, how much organic matter and how much water it will hold. In this case, we have clay loam. Now it's asking us about the sun exposure. This area gets lots of sun, so we will click lots of sun. Now it's asking about the slope of the area. This area has a slight slope, so we'll click slight slope. This will help the timer know to break up the run times so that you don't get runoff. Zone 1 is complete. Now we move on to the next zone. It'll ask you to run a test as well. Our drip zone has now turned on. We're going to name this zone drip. The drip irrigation is watering perennial plants, so we're going to select perennials. We're also using drip irrigation, so you can scroll down and pick what type of drip irrigation we are using. In this case, we have inline drip. Again, it's asking what our soil type is, clay loam. This is also a full sun exposure on a slight slope. Zone 2 has been set up. I'll go ahead and program the other 2 zones that we have connected to this timer. I have set up the 4 zones that we are using on this timer. The timer has the capability of running up to 8 zones. You can just simply click on the zone and disable the zone. Do this for all of the zones that you are not using. Now we are done setting up our zones. On the home screen, it will show you current weather conditions and even some of the future possible rain. If you want to review your zones, you can simply click on the irrigation drop and the zones will pop up. You can click any of the zones if you want to review any of your programming. You can also edit it. Now we want to set up a program. Go back to the irrigation drop, click the schedules at the top, create a schedule, the little calendar with the plus mark. At this point, it will ask you if you want a regular fixed, this is your normal Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on and off program that you would have on any of the old style timers. Flex monthly, where you can set a regular program, but it will make adjustments based on weather over longer periods of time, weekly, monthly. or flex daily, the expert watering as they call it. This one is my preference. It will ask you to select which zones you want to have on this program. I like to separate my grass, my drip, and my other plant materials, so we are only going to select the grass and unselect the other stations. We're going to name this program Grass. Now it'll ask you what days you're permitted to water. If you have water restrictions from your water provider, you may click those. At this point, we're allowed to water on any day. Now it's going to ask when you would like the irrigation to run. Because this is a smart timer, I like to let it do its job and choose the watering schedule that it wants to set. So I usually let it end before sunrise. If you have a specific time that you want it to start, you can simply click the time and set one. But in this case, we're going to use end before sunrise. Now it's going to ask you when you want this program to start and how long you want it to run for. Not so much that what day it's going to run, but this is it starts today and this program is good forever. So we're going to keep the default setting of today and end date of never. We're going to let it choose to do its own smart cycle. This is that cycle soak that we talked about earlier based on slope and soil types. We're going to let it do its job and keep the smart cycle. One of the features I really like is you can choose to skip when the weather is freezing, or if you have heavy wind events, it will also skip watering overhead irrigation. We're going to keep both of these skips. Now it'll give you a projected total watering time. I know 58 minutes sounds like a long time, but if you remember, we put rotary pop-up nozzles, which have a very low application rate. That's the speed at which the nozzles apply water to your landscape. Click Next. Now we can set up programs for the other zones. I'm just going to add some. Now we have our programs set up. If you'd like to review when these are projected to water, you can click Calendar, and you will see the projected watering for each of those programs. Now that we have these schedules set up on your Rachio, you're ready to water. Thank you for watching our segment on the programming and setup of your Rachio irrigation timer.